like a little exercise between. So I'm Jeanette Mulvey, and I am so glad you're all here today. I am here with two of our America's Top Small Business finalists. I will be interviewing all of them today, and you get to hear from them and learn from them about what they do at their businesses that made them stand out to us and be chosen as our finalists. So right now I have Mark Estomin, who is the owner of Calgo Gardens in Howell, New Jersey, and April Peterson, who is a co-owner of River Rock Outfitter in Fredericksburg, Virginia. Now, before I interview them, we're gonna just do one thing. Just take a breath, because you've been through a lot to get here, and they're not normally on stage, so I know they're a little bit nervous. But that's okay, because they're small business owners. You're small business owners. You can totally understand what they're going through, so there's no reason to be nervous at all. So this conversation right now is about kind of creative major pivots that businesses have made, and I'm sure, as Steve said before, all of your businesses have done that. These two have done it in really interesting ways. So Mark, I'm going to start with you. You own a landscape business and a garden center. That would not convey to most people that it's also a center for arts and wellness. So how did you guys decide to take a garden center and turn it into something just completely different?
Well, we had to pivot quite fast with, of course, we heard from Walmart, but box stores kind of hurt us in a way that we didn't know where to turn. So we were in business, we've been in business for 45 years, and we were, of course, in business before the box stores. But when they came in, we had to make sure which way we had to turn. So we had always been doing landscape design, and we specialized in art in our designs. And people, really enjoyed it. They used to come into ours and say how beautiful it was and this and that. So we decided that we would move more into the artist merchandise. And so we brought in like a lot of artists to do workshops. There was a girl from Massachusetts who brought cedar logs and bittersweet vine, and we made trellises as a workshop. And we brought in all these different herbalists, and we started making skin creams with herbs. And we were moving toward the art to begin with, but then obviously when the box stores came in, we even had to take another step. And that step was to really find artisan-made merchandise. And we would go to galleries and things like that and bring it in, and people loved it.
Yeah, so that sounds creative and amazing and interesting, but at the end of the day, you need to run a profitable business. So how did that impact your actual, business profitability?
Well, I think how it came about was mostly word of mouth, but people really enjoyed the nature, the art, and then we brought in wellness, because it just goes hand in hand. And we brought in yoga, and we brought in aromatherapy, and we brought in all these things. So it became more of a lifestyle, and people really enjoyed it. And now we've added a cafe, and what else where do? You always think about where you're going to eat. So we've already become a destination for that.
Yeah, so it's really worked for you. I'm going to come back to you more about that. So hi, April.
Hello.
So April and her husband own River Rock Outfitter in Fredericksburg, Virginia. And so tell us a little bit about that. You're not the only business. Like Mark, you have competitors who are big box stores. So tell us a little bit about how your company differentiates itself creatively.
Yeah. Absolutely. So we heard really early on, I got great advice early on, that you can't out Amazon. You can't out Target. So what a small business needs to do is figure out what your competitors can't do and what they won't do. And from the very beginning, I just thought that was amazing for us and my team, and it's really what has led us over the last 10 years. As a group, we whiteboarded it. Who are our competitors, and what is it that they can't and won't do? And for us, I'm sure many of you guys camp, or you hike, or you paddle, and it's really hard to find a pair of shoes online or figure out of all the many backpacks, which one do you need? What kayak is going to be best for the river where you're paddling. And for us, that's how we really figured we would differentiate ourselves. We're going to provide that hands-on, personalized service. So I train my team around that. When somebody comes to us and says, that their friends are talking about going camping for the first time and they don't know where to get started, that's where we kind of shine. That's where we take them and say, sit and fit service, right? We figure out what are the best boots for them, what's the best pack for them. Do you need a stove? What kind of filters do you need? All the things that you need to have a fun time out on trail, but also a safety on trail. And so a big part of that is kind of that life cycle of that customer where you're providing that sit and fit service within your store, but you're also helping them find the trail, you're helping them find the access point on the river, and our team just excels in that, and I think that's what makes us different. And we're kind of babies when you compare us to a business like Mark, but I think in 10 years of business, it might be a big reason for why I'm sitting here.
Just want you to know that they only met last night, and I just think it's a testament to how much small business owners have in common. Your businesses aren't the same, but already you're relating. What you just essentially talked about was really providing excellent and really knowledgeable customer service, but I wondered if you could also talk about, April, you guys do a lot of demonstrations and events and really hands-on stuff, so I'm just wondering, I think it speaks to what they won't or can't do. So can you just talk a little bit more about that?
Early on, my husband and I are outdoor enthusiasts, and so we were building a business for us. We thought we were our primary customers. We wanted the lightest, greatest new backpack or kayak. I'm a kayak instructor, and so, I was thinking about customers like me, and we learned really early on that wasn't at all who our customer was. And so we had to pivot really quickly and redo our business model based around the idea that we had to build our customer base. Fredericksburg, Virginia, we're not Montana, we're not Colorado. You don't just walk out and see the mountains in your backyard. And so for us, we had to teach our community. We had to build our community, build our customer base, show them that we have an outdoor recreational economy in our community. And so a big part of that was I went and got certified as a paddling instructor. My husband got certified as a rock climbing guide. We started hiring hiking experts. So, and now we take people to Nepal, and I lead people in the Himalayan mountains. I take people down rivers and show them that, as a 101er, if you've ever wanted to get on the water, that's kind of my specialty, teach you how to get out there and do it safely. And so I think over the years, beyond just us having fun, we really taught our community that we've got outdoor recreation. And now, if you come down to Fredericksburg, you'll find connected trails, you'll find mountain biking trails, you'll find new access points on our river. And Jeanette, to your point, I think that we had to realize that the customers weren't just going to come. We had to really set up a store that built that customer base, and now they come and seek us out for those outdoor opportunities.
Wow.
Yeah, that's really interesting. Mark, I am sure that you guys have tried some things that didn't work. And I think no matter what kind of business these people here own, everyone has tried something or 100 things that don't work. So maybe you could think of an example of something you've tried and what you learned from failure.
Well, I think I know this might sound a little silly, but one of our biggest things is advertising. It's always a hit and miss type thing. And since we were, in business before social media, we had been trying all these different types of things. And we're always asking ourselves, what are we? People sometimes don't associate it, like you say, a garden center with wellness and art and events that we have on site. So when we started to do advertising, it was always hit and miss. But social media has added definitely for us, a new venue to reach people. But the other thing we do is we do a lot of nonprofit events. We have a 7.5-acre nursery, and we have all kinds of nonprofits that come in and benefit from our property, and we give back to the community by bringing these nonprofits in. And I'm going to say we do at least 10, 12 a year easy. And so in our advertising, we found that word of mouth becomes the best way.
Right. I think that's a great example. I think marketing and advertising in general tends
It's
to be
always
something
hard.
where people are like, maybe this will work, maybe it won't work. So it's a great example. April, your business, everyone's business really, it's like everything's changing all the time, right? Where they were talking about AI up there before. So can you just tell me a little bit how you think about your business plan and just being adaptable and changing all the time?
Yeah, I think we do this quite a bit. I don't know how many of you guys got it right on the first time. We did not. And so I think what's our superpower, maybe as small business owners, is that we are able to pivot and be flexible, on a dime. And if we're always really honest with ourselves and we're checking in with our customers and we're checking in with our staffs, then we can really identify what are those things that our customers want and need. And for us as a store, we really actively do this constantly. And it requires a really thick skin, I think, because when you ask your customers, they are honest. But if you're willing to really hear them out, you can figure out exactly where your business needs to go. And during COVID, there were so many silver linings for the outdoor industry because during COVID, it's the one thing people could still do. They could still get outside, and people were seeking that level of respite. So for us, we knew we just had to amplify. Even if we couldn't get the supplies and the gear in our store, we needed to be outside more. We needed to get people out on trail. We needed to get people out on the river where they could seek out that respite. So for us, it's always finding the new revenue streams. It's having fun, but mixing that with how are we going to make money while we do it. And it's just constantly listening to your customer base.
Thank you. I love that you said they're not always honest, so you have to kind of ask more than once. Mark, in the few seconds that we have left, I know that as part of your growth and change, you encountered a lot of resistance actually from your town because you evolved into something different than they thought that you should be or were. And just quickly, can you tell us how your community that you built around you helped you address that problem?
Well, we had to go, just last month, we had to go in front of the zoning board. Partially because of my fault. I've done some things that probably I shouldn't have done on the nursery, but it's always that's how I work. I just want to do it and get it done and get involved. But so they brought us in front of the zoning board, and there were 7 people on the board, and we had a community come in to support us that was just unbelievable. We had a room not this big, but a good half of this size, and the whole community came out and supported us, and not everybody, about 10, 12 people got up and spoke, and at the very end, the board said, I can't believe this. This is what we want in our town, and this is how we have to change. So it was really wonderful.
It's a good story, and that's where we're going to end it. So thank